How is the mindset of you and your teams? The research shows that the difference between a fixed and a growth mindset can improve results by as much as 35%. It's absolutely critical. And when you think about our performance lies solely on our mindset and our ability to then act based on how we feel about ourselves and how our mind allows us or enables us to perform. Now, the evidence also shows that a growth mindset can be developed. So if you don't have one now, or you have people on your teams that don't have one now, there are 5 really simple principles that help people to develop a growth mindset if they're in the right frame to be able to start on that journey. And the first tips, today we're going to talk about 5 key principles that will help you or team members that you might manage to develop that growth mindset if they're willing to do so. The first principle is around listening and understanding. People with a growth mindset are as interested, if not more interested, in listening to opinions, listening to what other people say so that they can understand their frame of reference before they then act themselves. And what that gives them is the ability to understand someone else and then either learn from it or position themselves in a way that meets the other person's needs. And it's a fundamental to growth mindset. The second is just this ability to think about themselves as a continual learner. The fact that they are continuing to learn throughout the whole of their adult lives. And we hear so many people, I'm sure you've had this experience, that tend to get shut down around learning and they become fixed in their mindsets and their beliefs. This principle of continual lifelong learning is what really stimulates a growth mindset in a person. The next piece then is about looking at what they've learned and applying it. So if they learn something new, someone with a growth mindset applies it, even if they're not sure that it will work, because they're always looking to go to the next step, go that extra mile. An application and then getting feedback from that application. I tried something new. If it worked, great. I'm going to keep practicing that, keep applying it and applying it. If it didn't work, then I take the feedback from the application. How can I improve it next time? And notice the question there is about improvement and continual development of themselves and what they are capable of. The fourth step then is creating space. People with a growth mindset are really good at creating space for themselves to either continually learn or sometimes just to reflect on how their life is, how their learning is continuing, and perhaps what they need to consider next. Now, if you haven't discovered either mindfulness or a short meditation practice, it's really interesting because that creates space in your mind, and that space in your mind helps you to become stronger mentally and psychologically so that when stress hits, you're able to deal with it much more effectively. And I always think about mindfulness and meditation since I've been doing it as it's a bit like going to the gym. So when I go to the gym on a regular basis to train my body, as and when I need to put my body under that strain, I meet a flight of stairs on the underground, or I need to run to catch a bus or a tube. If you're not physically fit, doing that can really exert a lot of energy. It can take a lot out of you physically. If you are physically fit, doing that is a breeze. You run to the stairs or you run to the bus and you can cope with it. Your body is able to cope with it. And meditation and mindfulness does the same for your mind. So if you want to be able to cope with stress more easily, if you want to be able to deal with pressure and intense situations as they come up, creating space in advance to find calm, confidence, and that sense of self-reassurance is a really great platform for enabling you to be able to deal with those situations as and when they come up. So creating space and reflection are 2 activities that people with a growth mindset create time to be able to do. And then finally, once you've got all these building blocks in place, you have to learn to trust yourself. And that means trusting yourself that if you're in a situation where you don't know the answer, or you're in a situation that you know is going to be difficult, You trust yourself to be able to tap into your experience, tap into your resources, maybe even be really uncomfortable, but know that during that discomfort, you are learning and creating opportunities for growth in the future because of your mindset. So I hope that's really simple, really applicable 5 key principles to start to develop a growth mindset. And if there's anybody that you know that you think actually that would be really useful for them to see and hear, then please feel free to share the video, pass it on to friends, colleagues, peers, maybe even your line manager if that's appropriate. And hopefully you'll start to think about this yourself. And it's an ongoing, continual process. So it's not something you don't say, oh, I've got a growth mindset, I'm done. The whole principle of a growth mindset is I continually learn and develop myself throughout my career, throughout my life. That's what separates people who continue that journey of growth versus those that become stagnated and fixed. So I hope that's useful, and I look forward to seeing you on the next video in the Leadership Success series from Focus for Growth.